And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Starting up in the north for Saturday morning's flying weather graphic here. IFR for the North Slope. Marginal VFR hung up along the Brooks Range there, so some VFR from the Seward Peninsula and St. Lawrence Island, across the Kobuk and most of the Noatak Valley areas, and then into the lower conditions here. A lot of IFR with marginal VFR across the southern half of Alaska. Marginal VFR for the Bering Sea, Aleutians, Alaska Peninsula, and pretty good IFR across the Gulf of Alaska and the Northeast Pacific and across the southeast coast. And then for the afternoon, improving down here over the southern panhandle, becoming VFR, but all the coastline staying IFR all the way up to about Cape St. Elias or so, and then northward, eastern half of the Copper River Basin, all the way up to north of Eagle, becoming VFR for Cook Inlet into the Susitna Valley, marginal VFR for the Madanuska Valley and Kenai Peninsula, becoming VFR Prince William Sound, marginal Kodiak Island, and the remainder of the southern part of the state here out to the southwest coast. Marginal VFR, same thing for the Aleutians and the Bering Sea, mostly marginal St. Lawrence Island, right up to the northwest coast there, Kotzebue Sound, Selawik Valley areas. Eastward here into the upper Yukon Valley, VFR, North Slope, Arctic Coast, marginal. And then back to some IFR here for Sunday morning for the North Slope, and IFR over the southeast interior, right on down to Yakutat, on down across all the southeast coast. Marginal VFR here into the Gulf of Alaska with VFR, Kenai Peninsula, Prince William Sound, Fognak Island into Cook Inlet, and at least the most of the Susitna Valley with some marginal VFR, Kuskokwim Valley, Alaska, Western Alaska Range, and mostly marginal for the southwest interior. No change for the Bering Sea and the Aleutians, all forecast to be marginal VFR. And then for the afternoon time frame, improvement here. We've got good VFR now from northern Bristol Bay right up across the western interior. Still the Bering Strait looking good up to the northwest and western Arctic coastal areas, eastern North Slope and Arctic coast. Actually about Wainwright eastward up there, marginal VFR. And still lower conditions here over the southeast part of the state. IFR along the Alaska Range, some IFR for the North Gulf Coast Range, and up around Eagle, northern Panhandle, Lynn Canal, Glacier Bay, IFR, but Juneau on down, marginal VFR to Dixon Entrance, Kodiak Island, mostly VFR. And for the passes, Anatuvik and Adigan, marginal VFR for the day on Saturday. Lake Clark and Merrill, marginal VFR, improving throughout the afternoon, hopefully becoming VFR, at least by mid-afternoon, maybe earlier, maybe later. Same forecast for rainy, windy VFR. Isabel VFR, possibly becoming marginal VFR, some moisture swinging up from the southeast. That same forecast possible for Mentasta as well, possible lower conditions in the afternoon. Tanita, marginal VFR throughout the day. And then Portage IFR, some improvement to marginal VFR, maybe even becoming VFR on the eastern entrance possibly. Chilkoot and White though, IFR. Freezing levels, 2,000 feet up into the central interior, then 4,000 feet here, south central Alaska. Panhandle, 6,000 to 10,000 feet across the area there. And out here to the Bering Sea, 4,000 feet south of the Aleutians there, although kind of angling back up into the southwest interior. And for icing, here out to the west, batch of some isolated moderate rime icing here, eastern Aleutians, Alaska Peninsula up to the Pribilofs. And then the heavier stuff will be over the southeast interior, down into eastern Prince William Sound, across most of the Copper River Basin to about Yakutat, and then less of a threat there for the southeast coast. Jet stream, south to north flow basically here, up to 115 knots there right across the Panhandle, and 50 to 75 knots out of the south-southwest over the east central part of the state. And then under the trough axis, light and variable, and then northerlies coming around this high, but not very strong at all, with the main jet south of the Aleutians. And for 9,000 feet, not much in the way of any wind here over the Bering Sea, even the Aleutians, stronger winds just off the chart there. Interior looking pretty good, but the southeast coast, 45 to 65 knot wind, strongest there just north of Skagway. And for 3,000 feet, this low here over the eastern Gulf, southwest 45 to 55 knots into the Panhandle. Northeast winds 30 to 35 knots here in areas of the northern part of the state, about 25 there for St. Lawrence Island. Next ends down into the north central Bering Sea, but light for the Aleutians. Turbulence, pretty smooth for the Aleutians, Alaska Peninsula, all the Bering Sea here as well as the west coast. Could be some considerable moderate turbulence here up over the north central interior, and even more so here over the central and northern Panhandle up to the eastern North Gulf Coast.